Hello everyone, Genki here, and today we're going to see if I can beat Pokemon Sword with only Butterfree. Butterfree is a classic Gen 1 Pokemon. It's bug flying, with a 395 base stat total. Butterfree is primarily a special attacker with decent speed. When it comes to bulk though, we'll be fine on the special side, but we'll be a little bit frailer on the physical end. By level up, Butterfree gets some good moves. All 3 powder moves, Gust and Air Slash, Confusion and Psybeam, and lastly Bug Buzz and Quiver Dance. Butterfree getting a setup move by level up is huge. However, we might need to get another one sooner than level 44. By TM, Butterfree gets some good moves, but the only thing I can see staying on Butterfree's move list is maybe Energy Ball. If we can find it. Rock Pokemon resist flying and do 4 times damage to Butterfree, so a grass move would be pretty good. However, Solar Beam is locked behind the Water Bike, which is locked behind the Rock Gym, and Giga Drain is post-game. Let's go over the rules. I can only use Butterfree in battle. No items in battle, only Held items outside of combat are allowed. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's begin. We started by catching a Caterpie on Route 1. I named him Freeman. Freeman is bold nature, so more defense, less attack. Pretty decent for Butterfree. Not for Caterpie though, as he only has tackle. With Freeman's currently pitiful stats, I switch trained him all the way to level 9, and then used the rare candy next to the Pokemon Lab to get Freeman to level 10, where he fully evolved into Butterfree. This gave Freeman the move Gust, his first special move. We then proceeded to spam Gust all the way down Route 2, into our first battle with Hop. Wooloo was just barely not a one-shot. Scorbunny was looking like a 3 KO. It thankfully only used tackle and not Ember, as our second Gust got a high roll, taking it out. Last was Rookity, who was a one-shot. Before the train, Hop gave us the TM for Swift, which we used to replace tackle. In the wild area, we did some raids, in order to use EXP candies to boost Freeman to level 14. At level 12, Freeman got access to the powder moves. The powder spells. We took Sleep Powder and Poison Powder. I saw them being more useful than Stun Spore. We then entered Motorstoke and attended the opening ceremony. Following the ceremony was another battle with Hop. Wooloo was still 2 KO from Gust. Scorbunny decided to spam Quick Attack. This time, it was an actual 3 KO, causing Hop to use his potion. However, thanks to Hop never using Ember, Freeman took out Scorbunny with just a little under half health. Last is Rookity, who now survives Gust. This allowed it to use Peck, taking Freeman to only 7 HP before we could take it out. We can now enter Galar Mine, where we have our first battle with Bee. For this battle, we finally started using Sleep Powder. Solosis was a 2 KO, and its Confusions did a quarter per hit. Butterfree has the ability to compound eyes, so Sleep Powder will never miss, or at least it will be very unlikely to miss. Next up was Gothita, who was a 3 KO, so Sleep Powder was necessary. Last Latenna. We skipped on the Sleep Powder this time, going straight to offense. Latenna was also a 3 KO, but Freeman was still at half health when we took it out. Time for the first gym. Gosler was a 2 KO. Eldegoss was a 3 KO, but for some reason, it only went for max overgrowth, making it an easy win. We then went back to Route 3 to pick up the Sharp Beak to boost flying moves. I forgot I was there. Beating in the gym opened Route 4, where we got another battle with Hop. This was our first real challenge for the run. We went for Sleep Powder on Wooloo, in order to get past it at full health. Then Corvisquire came out. It outsped went for Leer, as Gus did a third. Corvisquire then missed his Fury attack as we put it to sleep. This allowed us to safely finish it off. Last was Reboot. Reboot went first, and went for a weak double kick. We then put Reboot to sleep. However, Gus then only did a quarter, as Reboot woke up and one-shot us with Flame Charge. I decided to try one more time. We got some bad luck against Corvisquire, so we were at half health for Reboot. However, for some reason, Reboot decided to just not use Flame Charge. It used Double Kick, Round, and Growl, but not Flame Charge, giving us the win. We can now enter the town of Hulberry, where behind the lighthouse was the TM for Electro Web. This will be important for the gym. Goldeen survived Electro Web. allowing it to set up agility. Agility gives +2 in speed, while Electro Web reduces speed by 1. This allowed Goldeen to go first the next turn, and do some damage before going down. Arcuda on the other hand has a priority move, so Freeman got taken down to a third before he could take out Arcuda. Last was Dreadnought. It went first, and X-Max Geyser took Freeman to red health. R-Max Lightning then only did a third, causing Freeman to go down. After some raid dins, we got Freeman to level 25. We started by putting Goldeen to sleep, but Electro did one shot, and Goldeen decided to wake up the next turn and set up agility. This allowed Goldeen to get a 1-horn attack before going down. For some reason on this attempt, Arcuda decided to not use Aqua Jet, so we were going into Dreadnought with over 3/4 health. Freeman at this level outsped Dreadnought, so we did not immediately Dynamax. Instead, we put Dreadnought to sleep, and then Dynamaxed. Max Lightning took Dreadnought to a third. However, then Dreadnought woke up, but its Max Darkness didn't even take Freeman to half, giving us the win. We cut out Air Gallon Mine number 2, where we have another battle with Bead. Freeman now had Air Slash, which almost one-shot Solosis. We then got the Flinch, probably blocking Endeavor. Bead then used the Super Potion, however, 2 more Air Slashes took out Solosis. Gothita survived Air Slash with less than a quarter, and went for its Forbidden Rock Tomb, which it shouldn't know, because Rock Tomb is the reward for beating Gordy, the 6th gym leader. Against Hatena, we again got the Flinch, taking it out in 2 hits, leaving only Ponyta. Ponyta outsped Freeman. It got in 2 weak hits with Confusion before going down. We could now make our way back to Wedgehurst, because we're taking a trip to Isle of Armor. Freeman was well over leveled, so I won't go over the battles, but by completing 2 of Mustard's trials, we got access to Max Soup, which we could use to give Freeman the ability to Gigantamax. Other than a form change, the only benefit Gigantamax gives is that Max Flutterby becomes GMX Befuddle. Max Flutterby's secondary effect lowers the opponent's special attack, while GMX Befuddle's secondary effect gives the opponent a random status effect. I think we could see which one's better. Back to Motostoke, where we have a battle with Marnie. Croagunk went first and used Sucker Punch, as we one-shot of Air Slash. This brought on Morpeko, who outsped and did big damage with Bite. It also got the Flinch, forcing a reset. We had to use Sleep Powder, but putting Croagunk to sleep, we could prevent Freeman from taking damage from Sucker Punch. With Morpeko asleep, we used Electro Web to first lower its speed, and then take it out with 2 Air Slashes. Last is Scraggy, who was a one-shot. Time for the 3rd gym. We put Ninetales to sleep. We then took out Ninetales with 2 Air Slashes. Arcanine, despite going first, went for Agility, as we put it to sleep. We started spamming Electro Web in order to lower Arcanine's speed, but then it woke up and used Will-O-Wisp. We had a Lumberry to negate it though. After 2 Electro Webs, Arcanine was back to base speed, forcing Kabu to use Agility again, allowing us to take out Arcanine. Last is Cinnascorch. We can now show off Gigantamax Butterfree. I love the Gigantamax designs. Freeman's Max Airstream was not enough to one-shot Cinnascorch, so we got hit by a GMAX Inferno, taking Freeman straight to a third, before we could finish off Cinnascorch. This opened Hammerlock, which gave us access to So Inside, where we have our next battle with Hop. Cramorant was a one-shot. Hop then sent out Reboot, who went first, and took Freeman straight to a throw with Flame Charge. Air Slash then did half. Reboot for some reason went for Agility, despite outspeeding, allowing us to take it out. Toxel resisted all of our moves, so it survived Air Slash, but did weak damage with Flail before we took it out, leaving only Silicobra, who we one-shot. Time for the 4th gym. Hitmontop survived Air Slash, but wasted a turn on counter before we took it out. Pangoro was similar, going for Workup before going down to 2 Air Slashes. Against Surfetch'd, we actually got the Flinch, activating Surfetch'd's Steadfast, boosting its speed. However, Freeman was still faster. Last is Machamp. With Freeman still at full health, Machamp's Max Darkness was not a threat, as we took out the champ with 2 Max Airstreams. Following the gym was another battle with Bead. His whole team was a sweep with Bug Buzz. On to the 5th gym. We started by putting Weezing to sleep, before taking it out with 2 Air Slashes. Togekiss has Ancient Power, so we made sure to put it to sleep as well. We then got lucky, because Togekiss was a 3 KO. Mawile survived Air Slash at half, so we took some damage from Crunch before taking it out. Last out Creamy. Max Airstream just barely did one shot, so we took a hit from GX Finale before finishing off Creamy. We can now head back to Hammerlock, where we have a battle with Hop. Trevenant is immune to Sleep Powder. However, Freeman now knew Quiver Dance, boosting his special attack, special defense, and speed. Trevenant tried to use Confuse Ray, but we had a Lumberry equipped. We then took out Trevenant with Air Slash. Freeman's +1 speed allowed him to outspeed Cinderace and put it to sleep. We then took a risk and had Freeman set up a second Quiver Dance before one-shotting Cinderace. Heatmore and Boltund were then also one-shots. At +2, Snorlax still survived the hit, but Freeman was at full health, so he was in no issue as we took out Snorlax. Time for the 6th gym. Oh boy. We started by having Freeman use Sleep Powder, and then Quiver Dance, but then Barbarical woke up after one turn and one-shot Freeman with Rock Tomb. We kept trying over and over, but Barbarical just kept waking up after one turn of sleep. I decided to do some raid den grinding. At level 50, we were now strong enough to skip the Quiver Dance on Barbarical and one-shot with Bug Buzz. Against Shuckle, we started by setting up Quiver Dance. We set up 2, as Shuckle took Freeman to a quarter with Stone Edge and Rock Tomb. We then one-shot Shuckle. I'll be real, one of the hardest things is remembering that Rock does not resist Bug. Stonejourner was then also one-shot, leaving only Colossal, who thanks to its fire typing, does resist Bug. G-Max Fuddle did less than half. It also paralyzed Colossal, but the paralysis did not activate, leading to Freeman going down. For the first time this run, we needed to start doing EV grinding. Outside of Mosto, there was an area where Glooms spawn. Glooms give 2 special attack EVs each. We did nothing but take out Glooms until Freeman was level 53. Against Barbarical, we still began with Sleep Powder, but then took a rescue step of Quiver Dance. We got lucky as Barbarical didn't wake up for once, allowing us to take it out. We then went back to setting up Quiver Dance against Shuckle. Our boosted speed forcing Shuckle to spam Rock Tomb. Oh, and while grinding, we picked up the leftovers. When Shuckle got us down to a third, we switched to offense, taking out Shuckle with a +4 Bug Buzz. Sojourner was of course a one-shot, so we're back to Colossal. GX Befuddle now took Colossal to a quarter, but what was more important was that we got a sleep proc. This stroke of luck won us our 6th badge. Following the gym was a battle with Hop. We first put Double to sleep. We set up a Quiver Dance, but then Double woke up and set up a useless defense curl. We had Freeman set up one more Quiver Dance as Double's takedown did a quarter. We then proceeded to one-shot both Double and Cinderace with Air Slashes. For Corviknight, we put it to sleep first, as it needed 2 Air Slashes. Picurcha was the one-shot, leaving just Snorlax. It survived Bug Buzz on the Sliver, allowing it to use Body Slam, taking Freeman to a third. Snorlax then went down the hail damage. We could now go down Route 9, and into our next battle with Morty. Lifeport hit Freeman with a priority Sucker Punch, as Bug Buzz one-shot it. Morpeko then came out, and it outsped Freeman. Spark took Freeman all the way down to a quarter, as we one-shot Morpeko. That was the only threat, as Freeman outsped Toxicroak and Scrafty, who both went down the Air Slash. Time for the 7th gym. Scrafty went for a priority Fake Out, flinching Freeman. However, we put it to sleep. We then set up 2 Quiver Dances, before one-shotting Scrafty with Air Slash. Malamar went down the Bug Buzz. Officer Gun used Obstruct, but Bug Buzz is special, so it just went down the next turn. Last is Skuntank. It used a priority Sucker Punch, but was of course a one-shot. 1 gym left. However, I first made a trip to Wall area to collect some berries. Chardy berries in particular. On to the 8th gym. Flygon went first and used Thunder Punch and Magikarp. I had Freeman then put Gigalith to sleep. Flygon just hit Freeman with a strong Thunder Punch, doing over half of Freeman's health, as Freeman set up a Quiver Dance. This allowed Freeman to outspeed Flygon and take it out. However, this spread out Sandaconda. We went for a Bug Buzz in the Gigalith, doing over half, but then Sandaconda used Fire Fang, finishing off Freeman. We first used EXP candies to get Freeman to level 63. He now outsped Flygon, and we replaced the Chardy Berry with a Walk-On Berry to reduce the damage with Thunder Punch, just for Gigalith to do massive damage with a single hit from Rock Blast. It then hit me, while I was EV training Freeman, that we needed to overhaul Freeman's move pool for the battle. For this battle alone, I replaced Air Slash with Draining Kiss and Bug Buzz with Iron Defense. We still start with Sleep Powder, as this time, Flygon used Breaking Swipe, hitting both Freeman and Magikarp. We then started setting up Iron Defense, giving Freeman +2 in defense with each use. We were still using the Walk-On Berry, so Flygon's Thunder Punch barely tickled, as we got Freeman to +4 defense. Freeman was now at half health, so I had him use Draining Kiss of Flygon, taking it to red health, and fully healing Freeman. Gilgit then woke up, but Freeman started the 3-hit Rock Blast with the third. We quickly put Gigalith back to sleep, as Flygon took us into the red. We started going for Draining Kiss in the Gigalith, and we got lucky, as it took 3 hits to take out Gigalith. This brought out Sandaconda. Draining Kiss took it to half, but then Sandaconda went for Glare. This made Freeman slower than Sandaconda and Flygon. I just had Freeman set up a Quiver Dance. He was still slower than Flygon, but not faster than Sandaconda. Last on Right-Hand's team was Duraludon. Duraludon of course outsped, but then Freeman survived his Max Rockfall with red health, and one-shot it with Max Starfall. All that remained was Flygon, who got Freeman down to only 22 HP, but went down to one final Max Starfall. Following Gym, we made an immediate trip to Move Reminder to put Freeman's moveset back to normal. We could now make our way to Winden, to attend the semifinals, where our first opponent is Marnie. We first put Liepard to sleep, in order to set up one Quiver Dance. This allowed us to outspeed all of Marnie's team, and take them out with either Bug Buzz or Air Slash. Next is Hop. This time, we set up 2 Quiver Dances, before going the offensive. Double and Percussion both went down to 1 hit each. Though against Corviknight, we first put it to sleep, before taking it out in 2 hits. Snorlax was a one-shot, so all that remained was Cinderace, who was also a one-shot. With the semifinals over, we now had to infiltrate Rose Tower, where we had a battle with Oleana. We put Frostlass to sleep to set up Quiver Dance, but the sleep only lasted 1 turn. Frostlass's Icy Wind didn't do that much damage. It just erased our speed boost. I decided it was safe to set up one more Quiver Dance, before taking out Frostlass. Salazzle then came out and poisoned us before going down. Thankfully at +2, Freeman just plowed through the rest of Oleana's team, including Garbodor. We can now start the finals, but first was about Bede. Aside from Mawile, who we need to use Air Slash on, the rest of Bede's team all went down to +1 Bug Buzz. Time for Nessa. We stepped up Quiver Dance, as Golisopod used Sword Stance. We then took out Golisopod with Air Slash. Nessa then sent out Pelipper. It went down to 1 Air Slash. However, the Rain-Net setup activated Barraskewda's Swift Swim, allowing it to go first and take Freeman to almost half of liquidation. Barraskewda is thankfully a glass cannon. Seeking was no issue, so last is Dreadnought. Freeman outsped and one-shot it. I find it weird that Nessa would go for Shell Armor Dreadnought rather than the superior Swift Swim Dreadnought. I mean, she has a raid setter on her team. Next is B. I decided to put Hawlucha to sleep, because there was a chance its bounce or flying press could hit hard. I then misclicked and hit Bug Buzz, but thankfully Hawlucha didn't wake up, so we could still take it out. B then sent out Phalanx, who I found safe enough for Freeman to set up a single Quiver Dance, and then sweep B's team. Last is Raihan. After putting Torkoal to sleep, we set up a single Quiver Dance, before going for Air Slash, which one-shot Torkoal. This brought out Turtonator, who also went down to a +1 Air Slash. Goodra though survived Bug Buzz, but didn't just set up the rain, so it went down. Flygon was a one-shot, so last is Duraludon. It survived GMX Befuddle with a Sliver. Thankfully, Freeman survived Max Rockfall with a third, allowing him to finish off Duraludon. We could have faced Leon. However, we first needed to beat up the CEO of Galar's biggest conglomerate. We first put Escavalier to sleep, and then set up Quiver Dance. However, Escavalier then woke up after 1 turn, and took Freeman to almost half an Iron Head. At +1, Escavalier survived Air Slash on a Sliver, but wasted its turn on Sword Stance, allowing us to finish it off. Rose then sent out Cling Clang. We put it to sleep, but it survived Bug Buzz. It then woke up and set up Shift Gear, raising its speed by 2 and attack by 1. We had gotten a lot of health back from leftovers, allowing Freeman to survive Wall Charge with red health, and set up a second Quiver Dance. We could not take out Cling Clang. With +2 in speed and special attack, Berserker and Featherthorn easily went down, leaving only Camparaja. It survived GMX Befuddle with a third, allowing it to use GMX Steel Surge, leaving Freeman on only 4 HP. Thank you, leftovers. Time for Eternus. It went first and over half a flamethrower before it could put it to sleep. We then set up 2 quiver dances. However, Eternus still survived a +2 air slash. It then woke up and used the weak cross poison before he finished it off. On to Eternmax Eternus. On his first turn, Eternus likely attacked Top's double as we put it to sleep. It then stayed to sleep for 2 turns, allowing us to set up a quiver dance and do some good damage against it. It then woke up and finished off double. We could not put it back to sleep, because Eternus was at a point where it was erasing all of our statuses and stat changes every turn. Thankfully, despite our quiver dance being erased, Freeman still had enough bulk to survive max flare. I know I just said sleep powder was pointless, but I did try it at least one more time, just for Eternus to of course wake up the next turn. Eternus then decided to attack Hop Snorlax, giving Freeman the opening to finish it off. Finally, it's time for Leon. Aegislash was thankfully not that threatening, as it was primarily a special attacker. We still put it to sleep, just for it to wake up immediately and waste a turn on King Shield as we set up a quiver dance. We then set up a second and third quiver dance, as Aegislash started hitting Freeman with pretty weak flash cannons. With +3 special attack, we took out Aegislash. This then sent Rhyperior, who we put to sleep, just for it to be one-shot by Bug Buzz. Me forgetting Bug is neutral to Rock Strikes again. Rhyperior was honestly the main threat, so we easily swept through Leon's team, all the way to Charizard, who we also one-shot. We beat Pokemon Sword with only Butterfree. Thank you all for watching. This was a pretty fun run to help me get back into Pokemon challenges. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.